Coming to you live from the Chamber of Hunter Studios, this is Hunting You. I'm John Schelt.
Slappenwacker. I'm
Leslie
Keoni.
Reed.
Nope, do not hit, whoever you are, do not hit rewind. Do not do it.
I'm Keoni
It is not
Hutton.
worth it.
And she's
And
Leslie Reed.
Yeah, most of the time.
We're having too much
Sorry.
fun today. We're
Yes.
having too much fun. See, this is what happens when John has been gone for a while and we get him back and we have to but that's why you tune into the podcast, right?
Are you
Because
saying
we're
I'm
fun.
the cause of the general mayhem and chaos?
No, I'm
Always
saying
have been.
Mm,
yes, but I'm saying we missed you and we're glad you're back.
I was on
And
the last one.
no, you weren't.
Wait, was I? Are
No, you weren't.
you sure? I'm
Yes.
gonna look it up on
What was the last one, John?
podcast. I'm gonna look it
What
up
was the
on
last
Apple.
one, John?
It was Ghostly How To's,
It was Ghostly How To's, and you weren't on it.
which I just downloaded.
Oh, wait a minute. You were on it.
How?
He left
You had to
early.
you left early to freaking do your fantasy football lame stuff.
Very well. That in late August and early September, I have commitments that have been made.
Yes, to spooky season.
Spooky season. It's for like an hour. How dare you?
Which means it can wait until after we're done with spooky season.
Exactly.
Wait, there are like 11 other people on that particular one having the draft at that moment.
And there are 3 people here.
And we're more
Hey, you
fun.
guys.
We are more fun and less forgiving.
Yes.
That's also true.
Welcome, everybody, back to the Hunting You podcast. We are so very excited to have you here. It is September 15th. We are days away from the first haunts opening up in the United States, getting ready for haunt season 2024. And of course, we are 46 days away from Halloween.
That's scary math.
Oh, that's very scary math. You know why it's very scary math? Because I haven't done a thing yet.
Oh man, the panic that set into your voice. That was cool.
46 days? Holy. Oh, we're in
So,
trouble, guys. Holy moly. Actually,
How's
Go
your
ahead,
permitting
Liz.
going?
oh my God. I don't even remember where we left off because,
Panic moved to depression.
accurate. So I don't remember where I left the story, but feel free to go check out our previous 2 podcasts to hear all about the challenges that we are having with renovating the house, which is why we're not getting any of my Halloween stuff before Halloween, which is very, very depressing to me. But all of that aside, let me try to pick up kind of where we're at now. So I think on the last episode, I talked about how we found a crack in the lid of the tank, right?
Yes.
And did I talk about going back to the county and the county telling us that we may have to replace the entire system?
No.
Okay.
It was-
So that's where we'll pick up. So we found out that there's a crack in the lid of the tank, but it's in the lid of the tank. So we thought we would not need to replace the entire tank. We could just dig it up, take the lid off, put a new lid on, bury it again, and everything would be good, right?
Sure.
Well, we submitted the report that we got to the county and said, look, here is what we discovered. Here is our plan to fix it. Please issue us a permit so that we can do that work. And they said, your tank appears, or your system at least, appears to be 47 years old. We are not confident that your system is operating properly. We need to do a percolation test.
Oh.
A percolation test involves digging a 13-foot deep hole next to the drain field of the septic system so that they can take a sample of the soil. And then, based on the results of this sample, we will know what has to be done from there. So we had to get the inspection done, which cost an extra $500. Then we find out we need to get this percolation test done, which is going to cost us an extra $1,300.
Sure.
So we're $2,000 in just on septic work. Like, this is not touching anything else that is happening on the house. This is all just to get the freaking plumbing permit. And because all of this takes time and contractors are busy,
Sure.
this test is not happening until next Wednesday. So Wednesday, I don't even know what day it is anymore. It's all
19th.
together.
18th. Sorry, 18th.
Yeah. So the freaking percolation test isn't even going to happen until September 18th. And best case scenario, the percolation test goes well. And immediately afterwards, they will say, oh, your septic system looks like it's in great shape. Please, here is your permits. You may continue and do the rest of the work that you need to do. Worst case scenario, we have to replace the whole septic system, tank, drain field, OD box, piping from the house, whole shebang will have to get replaced.
And what does that run you? Just ballpark.
I have no clue.
Because I feel like adding to your stress.
A lot is the short answer. But apparently, the county has grant programs that can help pay for new septic systems. So if we end up there, that is happening.
So have you considered along the lines where I would recommend theft?
I'm super curious what to steal here.
No. In the same, it's theft adjacent, more of shady business adjacent. Have you considered just bribing them to give you a positive result?
Tried that. What I think I'm going to need to happen is, John,
really fast.
I need you to send me a jar of dirt.
I got a jar of dirt.
That's what popped into my head too.
I'm glad, because that's what I was going for. No, I need you to send me a jar of dirt. Like I'm picturing like a urine test where you have.
That's sort of what. That's kind of what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I need you to send me clean dirt.
Wait a sec. Won't they be able to detect Colorado minerals or something compared to?
Do I look like a geologist to you?
I don't friggin' know.
You assume a great deal.
This is the health department of Calvert County. I'm imagining they're not geologists.
If it doesn't show up with I think they're going to be good.
Oh, I will put some shit in it.
Well, okay. If it doesn't show up with appropriate amounts of
That's the tricky part, knowing how much to put in it.
Google, how much is appropriate?
How much shit is
when
the
I'm
appropriate amount? How much should be in my groundwater?
I'm going to feel really bad for Google someday.
Yeah, right. So that's where we are on the renovations. Are
you okay?
No, I am not okay. Short answer. Like, I'm at the point where I'm regretting starting the renovations.
Doesn't everyone have that when they start renovations?
Probably. Like, I imagine everyone goes through this, and I'm hopeful that that's the case. But my God, like, I can't wait to find out what goes wrong next.
Really?
Only because it's going to be something new and absurd.
Only because it's going to be something new.
At least, I was going to say, at least it won't be the septic stuff, but maybe we should jinx that.
One of my mentors at work once told me that naval engineering, or in order to like be as successful as a naval engineer, you have to have an infinite capacity for bad news.
I like that.
Yeah.
I also like that. It's brilliant, and I have told it to every person I've supervised ever since. But I'm reaching my capacity.
I think what we've discovered here is, because of the path you have chosen in life, you seem to be destined to have to deal with broken things.
That is accurate. But for the most part, I'm pretty good at fixing them.
Mm-hmm.
This is not some bureaucracy is not something I can fix.
No.
And that's frustrating. So fucking frustrating.
Why I recommend that. See, I think here's the thing. What you're recommending is cheating by using better dirt. Well, the less contaminated dirt. What I'm proposing
differently contaminated dirt.
Fair enough. What I'm proposing is skip all that and just hand them some money, and maybe this is for your positive results, and just move forward.
Yeah.
Hey, fill out the right form.
I tried talking to the guy at the county and telling him, look, we're at a point where you are now deeply involved, because they have to like come out and witness the percolation test. They're like, the guy from the county is actually going to be on site to take the soil samples, right? And So I'm like, look, you are deeply involved at this point. You know that this is going to get fixed to your content because you're the one who is supervising it. Can
just
you
approve my permits so I can?
Can you approve my permits so that I can have both of these repair paths moving forward at the same time instead of having to wait for one to finish before the other can even begin? He has not given me an answer yet.
Yeah, I need something so my family is not living in 60 square feet.
I think we have like 200.
Oh,
A little
okay.
better.
But 4 people in 200 square feet is not a lot of space.
No.
Ooh.
So that's where we are. If any of you fine listeners have similar stories of chaos in renovation, we would love to hear them.
I would like to know how many of you resorted to bribery.
I also would like to know how many of you.
You can't
resorted
call
to
it a
bribery.
bribe. You have to call it like a convenience surcharge or an administrative fee
Exactly.
or
So
something
please
of
send
that
us a
nature.
message at Hunting University on Instagram, facebook.com/huntingyou, or at huntingyou on YouTube. Leave us a comment, send us a message. Tell us your stories of construction chaos because I need something to get me through this because I'm not sure how much more I can take.
Cocaine?
No cocaine, please.
No.
Still
Needed something.
in the military.
Something. Yeah.
So that's where we are on that. And because of that, we have drastically scaled down what we are going to be doing for this year. But I'm excited to get started on what we're going to be doing this year. So last night, in fact, I was shopping on Amazon. I found a wiper motor. I found couplings. I found string. I think I have everything that I need on its way now to build the Axeworthy Ghost. So I'm very excited to get started on that and optimistic that that one is going to happen. That's what I'm planning to do this weekend if all the parts show up on time. I think they will. The wiper motor showed up today. I'm very excited. So progress there. I've got chicken wire already and the tools to cut it. So the chicken wire ghost going to happen. This weekend, I need to get under the deck and pull the crypt out because I have not yet looked at it and don't know how much damage it has sustained while sitting for the last 2 years while we were gone. So that's probably going to need some work. So I'm hopeful to assess and start that repairs this weekend because today is, well, we'll release this on September 15th, but I intend to start setting up September 28th. So we've got basically 2 weeks to get everything ready so that we can set it up on the 28th, 29th, 30th, and then we are up and running October 1st.
Mhm.
Okay.
Leslie sounds skeptical.
Oh, I am not because I know exactly what we'll end up doing. And like always, we'll make it work because that's what we do.
One way or another, we will make it work. And it may not end up being quite what we planned, quite what we intended,
But it'll be Halloweeny and spooky time.
but it will be spooky. And I hope people will come see it and enjoy it. That actually segues us very nicely into what we want to talk about tonight. So we have been going through the Hunting You method, talking about how we are using it to help us plan for this year. And we've really just kind of hit the wave tops on our planning process and then started to do some deep dives. But today we want to talk about partnerships and kind of go through what we do to, one, build up funding for the haunt, two, support our local community, and well, that's really it. Like that's what we're trying to do. That's the goals of our partnership. We need to, one, fund the haunt, and two, we want to give back to the community in some way. So we want to talk a little bit about how we have done that in the past, how we're doing that this year, and hopefully give you some ideas of ways that you can give back to your own community through your hunting efforts. Because hunting is fun, but hunting for a good cause is, I don't know, rewarding, fulfilling, good for the soul, might keep me out of hell. I don't know. We'll see.
That's a stretch.
Speaking of hell, how do we feel about recommending theft to give back to the community.
So Robin Hooding,
Basically.
I think.
Yeah. It wasn't a hard no.
The Hunting You podcast does not advocate Robin Hooding.
Didn't you just say you were going to cheat on your government-sanctioned tester?
That's not stealing.
Cheater potato.
That doesn't hurt anyone but me and the animals who drink my groundwater.
Oh, yeah, but now you have toads.
I feel like one can argue that's what's in toads.
That we have toads and turtles and snakes. Oh my! But they seem to be doing okay. So like, surely there's nothing wrong with my septic tank.
You ain't a turtle doctor.
What did you call me?
I said you ain't a turtle doctor. You don't know.
How do you know I'm not a turtle doctor?
Oh, I know.
No, but I am a turtle owner. So like, I have some ideas on what to look for. Right. So, Les, why don't you kick it off and talk a little bit about some of the partnerships that have worked for us in the past.
Yeah, so I mean, we've done a number of partnerships. I'd say pretty much almost most of the haunts that we've done, especially of late, they've all been really geared towards setting up a haunt, but also providing something for the community, whether it's providing something for the community on base or on a ship with morale and stuff for the families, or whether it's collecting food for the Southern Maryland Food Bank, or whether it's working with the candle lighters and working with them to put their haunts together so that way they're giving back and through all of their programs that they utilize. We've really kind of built what we do around the idea of giving back. And
Absolutely.
There's a lot of benefit that we've found to that because it is bringing things back to the community, bringing all of these pieces together and being helpful.
Well said. I like that.
I enjoy watching Leslie try to multitask, like talking and what is that, a crochet pattern? Like what are you working on?
Well, there's knitting.
Yeah, I saw that. But I can't figure out what you're doing with the tablet while knitting.
Oh, playing a stupid iPad game?
I thought that was related to the knitting. Fair enough.
No, well, technically it is.
Waiting for the knitting to dry while you.
ADHD is problematic.
ADHD is problematic. That is a true statement. So yeah, I think you said that well, Les. So, when we started haunting, way back when it was just me and John and jumping out of bushes,
it's a good time.
We didn't even think about partnerships or giving back to the community. It was all about having fun. But as we got older,
matured? No,
I have I was not going to say matured. I have a confession to make. The biggest reason that we started partnering with a food bank here in Maryland was because I was trying to find a way to keep track of how many people were coming to visit the haunt. Let's go back.
Serving monster.
I know. I'm such a terrible person. Let's go back a few years to 2020. Everyone remembers what 2020 was like. It was the height of the pandemic. There was a lot of unknowns. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of questions. Nobody knew if it was going to be safe to trick or treat. That was the year that people started building like the crazy delivery, the candy delivery chutes and things so that they wouldn't have to get close to the trick or treaters to give them candy. Like that was Halloween in 2020. And we did not feel like we had the funding or ability to put on a safe haunt in the midst of all of those unknowns. And so we shifted to doing a drive-by haunted house. And what made that difficult was the way that in the past we had tracked the number of people who were coming to visit was by using one of those little hand clicky things. And the person who was at the front door would literally click the clicky thing, the counter, every time someone walked in, and we would have a very accurate count of how many people came at the end of the night. With the drive-by, though, there was no good way to find out how many.
There's limitation when you're trying to do that with cars.
It's much harder to do that with cars, exactly. And I had the idea of getting one of those machines that they used to count traffic, where you roll over the tube and it counts the cars that are going through. I still want to do that because I think it's a brilliant freaking idea, but it was too late to try to get it that year. They had like a 6-week lead time and we were 3 weeks out. So it was too late. But Leslie had this brilliant idea. Well, why don't we collect something? I was like, oh, if everyone brings a can of food.
Their souls were already taken.
What was that?
Their souls were already taken.
Whose souls?
Well, we can't collect souls. They were already occupied.
But
Hi, carry on.
You threw me off again. If we,
it happens.
The idea there was if we collect a can of food from everyone who comes, we'll at least have a rough number of the number of people who came. Okay, but then what do we do with all this food? So I started doing a little bit of Googling. I wonder if there's a food bank here in Maryland. There is a food bank here in Maryland. Look, the Southern Maryland Food Bank. I'm in Southern Maryland. How perfect. So we ended up reaching out to them and started asking questions, kind of telling them what we were doing. And they loved the idea of using a haunted house to collect food. They were able to send us a bunch of their media. So they gave us like posters, just PDFs so that we could print them out ourselves, but posters of the type of things that they want to collect and flyers that we could hand out and post all over social media. And like they supplied everything that we needed to market this as a food drive. And then we just put our own haunted spin on it. And it ended up working out really well. Over the 2 years that we were here, we ended up collecting like 1,500 pounds of food. And we're able to provide all of that to the Southern Maryland Food Bank, giving back to our community.
How many pounds of souls did we collect?
Souls are hard to measure.
I have not found a good way to measure souls. If any of you out there know how to measure them,
actually,
back to us.
Isn't there some statistic that
comment below?
Isn't there some legitimate like scientific fact that if you're weighed before you die and then you're weighed after, it's like 21 point something grams lighter?
Okay, first of all, that was a Dan Brown novel.
Was it?
Yes.
Heard it somewhere.
Oh, it was. No, that is the start of Angels and Demons, I think.
Is it really?
Angels and Demons is jumping out of a plane.
Yeah, I don't think
it's not Da Vinci Code.
It is one of the Dan Brown novels.
What's that?
I'm pretty sure it's Angels and Demons because the reason he jumped out of the plane was the antimatter.
Right. But it was about surface area on slowing your descent when you don't have a parachute.
I mean, that too. Anyway,
what if we just took the souls we had?
God, it was the God particle thing. Anyway, it's one of the. It is definitely. Soul. Yeah, John, you're a redhead. You don't have a soul.
Yeah. Okay.
But that is definitely something out of one of the Da Vinci novels. I don't think there's any basis. In fact, I don't think anyone has truly measured it. Maybe I will give my body to science and they can measure me, and maybe we can find an answer to this at the end of my life. All of that aside, wow, that was a hell of a tangent. You guys are throwing me at left and right.
Sorry.
Yay! Also, really quick, sorry, just to throw you off again, completely purposely. How is it that I get lectured for recommending theft and haunting you just not endorse theft? However, Leslie's endorsing the collection of souls. Not a word.
Well, I mean, if they're not using them.
I don't think there's any law against collecting souls.
God, that's just a really good point she has. That's a good argument.
Yeah, I know.
Never mind. Withdrawn.
Thank you. So that was really how we started our partnership with the Southern Maryland Food Bank. And wherever you are, there is probably a food bank or a community pantry or something along those lines near you that is looking for donations. So if you are looking for an opportunity to give back to your community, jump on Google, type in your area, type in food bank, type in community pantry. And I almost guarantee that you will find something relatively close to you that you could help support. And they would, and more likely than not, they will be willing to work with you in some way or another.
Yeah, especially, again, from a practical perspective, we're moving into the holiday season. We're getting ready to kind of kick that off here, coming up real fast. And that is, especially in speaking with food pantries, that's when they need the most help.
No, that's a good point.
as, getting everything
Around the
ready
holidays.
around the holidays. And, again, if you run a year-round haunt or if you do something, more regularly, also a really, really great way to do that because most people only think about giving during the holidays. So it's kind of a twofold benefit.
Yeah. The other half of that is you as a haunt have a workforce of some amount, probably. Our workforce is, me in Maryland and Leslie and John in Colorado. But hey, we still have a workforce. But if you have people, another way you can give back to the community is by actually volunteering at these food pantries, at the food banks. But in the past, I volunteered at the Rocky Mountain Food Bank and actually sorted the donations that were coming in. They need people who can go through, make sure food is not expired, make sure the package is intact and it hasn't, exploded all over everything, and just go through all of the donations they're going through or they're getting for useful versus things they cannot use. And they just need a workforce to help do that. So if you've got people from your haunt, if you maybe something at the end of the season, hey, we were able to donate all these food. We're going to spend a day at the food bank and help them sort. And it's great publicity for your haunt. And you're doing something really cool for the community as well.
There's another piece of it too, for those of you who have high schoolers. More and more high schools around the country are requiring a set number of community service hours in order to graduate. So again, as you're, working with your staff, however large or small, this is another way that you can get those community service hours while still doing something that you enjoy.
Yes. And in fact, that is an excellent segue to my next suggestion for partnering with your community. You need actors to fill your haunt, probably, right? A great source of those actors is potentially the high schools around your area, for that very reason that many of them have this requirement for community service hours in order for their people to graduate. You can help them do that by having them come and volunteer in your haunt. This is something that I did on my 2 ships ago now when I was doing the haunted ship on Coast Guard Cutter Alert up in Oregon. We reached out to the schools there and we had, I think, 4 or 5 students come out and haunt with us on board the ship. But the candlelighters do this the best out of anyone that I have seen. The candlelighters spend 4 weekends building their haunt before opening. And on the 3rd build weekend, they actually have sign-up day where they advertise to all the schools and say, if you want to sign up to volunteer at the haunt and get your community service hours, show up on this day, sign up, get your name on the calendar, and you can do it. And I was absolutely freaking blown away when I saw how many people came out to sign up on that first weekend. There were over 200 high schoolers standing in line hoping to get a spot to work for the ghost house. It was incredible. It came with a few challenges, though. That's a lot of people to try to manage. The candlelighters actually had 2 people who were dedicated to nothing but dealing with volunteers. They had a volunteer coordinator and then an assistant volunteer coordinator. And then on top of that, they had a costumer, a makeupper who were responsible for getting them into character every night. And then the coordinators would show them where they go, give them some brief training on how to act in the location they're going to be, any props that they need to know, where the emergency exits are, what to do in an emergency, how to communicate, all of that stuff that the actors have to know to be effective and to be safe. Someone had to train them. So the candlelighters actually dedicated 2 people to doing nothing but that the entire season. That's not necessarily practical for every haunt because most of us don't have the kind of workforce that the candlelighters do. But if you only have a couple of volunteers or you only open a couple of nights, it's much more, I'm going to say, doable to accomplish.
Yeah.
So we talked about partnering with the food banks. We talked about partnering with your local schools. The third partnership that we have taken advantage of in the past are, I'm going to say, established community service organizations. In our case, that just happened to be the United States Coast Guard. And granted, probably
Did you say
not.
taken advantage of?
Say what now?
I thought you said you took advantage of the charitable organization. Maybe I misheard that. Run that by
I
me
said
again.
partnered with, not took
Okay.
advantage of.
Like, did we defraud these people? I don't know. I don't keep the books.
Short answer is
Don't
Books?
answer that
No.
question. Don't answer that question.
books.
We have books.
Quote unquote books.
I honestly
I mean-
thought you would say we have book.
We have book. Yeah, exactly. We have book. The weenie book. But anyway, listeners, you can't see it, but John literally just turned on his camera for the first time this podcast just so we could see him facepalm.
I did.
Yep.
I did. 100%.
And for all of you who are wondering what we're talking about with the Winnie book, no, I promise
No.
it's not rated X. I am actually talking about One Little Spark, Mickey's 10 Commandments and the Road to Imagineering by Marty Sklar. This is a phenomenal book that describes Disney's Imagineering process. And one of the things that it talks about is creating a weenie. If you want to learn more about weenies or visual magnets, please go check out episode 10 because it's a phenomenal hour-long discussion about weenies. By a
Just like
bunch
that, we had
by
to
a
change
bunch
the
of-
podcast rating.
by a bunch
Hey,
of
we haven't had to change it yet. We're
we
doing
have
pretty
not
good.
had to change it yet. But it's a conversation about weenies by a bunch of adults who have the sense of humor of 12-year-olds.
So, Leslie, when we started this, did you think Kay would be the potty mouth on the podcast?
Yeah. Is that going to be Kay or me?
Fact.
Yeah, I thought I was going to swear more than either of you. That is not the case.
Not the case.
Swear that much, John.
Well,
Unless
no, it's
hockey's
weird.
involved.
Or football.
Or
Should
football.
start. Should start more.
Only if you want to color up your child's vocabulary. I don't know how colorful it is yet.
My children's vocabulary is far more colorful than I thought it would be.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Want to talk about weenies? I mean, come on.
Indeed. So back to community organizations. There are a ton of community organizations out there that are focused on helping your local community. I'm talking of like the Elks or veterans associations or the Candlelighters in Fremont, California, for instance. But organizations like this are often volunteer fire departments are another good one. But organizations like this are always looking for ways to raise money for their charitable purposes or to really help them function. Like there's a volunteer fire department here in Southern Maryland that puts on a haunt every year. And it is the primary fundraiser that they use for buying things like equipment that the fire department needs to put out fires. Like, can you think of a better freaking organization to support with haunting than your local fire department? Like what? And you know the fire marshal's not going to give you crap because you're working with the fire department, right?
And that's why you do it. Okay.
And they have fun tools.
And they have fun tools. And
Oh my God. Oh, I just pictured Leslie with the jaws of life.
I told, yeah, seriously.
Oh God.
I told you guys
Oh
about
my
this
gosh.
on Weishi, how we set up an entire scene around one of our damage control lockers where we had firefighting suits
Mhm.
hanging from the ceiling that people had to like claw their way
Yeah.
through like a forest. And then we had a fire on one side with skeletons putting water out. And like we made a whole thing out of it. It was great. That was one of my favorite scenes. And it worked
Yeah.
awesome. But anyway, like what a great opportunity to partner with a local organization to help them raise money. And the cool thing about these organizations is they are already established in the community. So they have an outreach, they have an audience, they know the people to get the word out about your haunt, about the haunt you're doing with them. And in many cases, they will take on all of the advertising for you because it's benefiting them.
Yeah. Basically, your marketing is 85% done at that point.
Exactly.
I'll take that.
And more, they may have a location for you to use.
Ooh.
Hey, the Elks want to put on a haunt. Well, they're offering the Elks Lodge to as a location. You bring your stuff in, set up the haunted house, execute, and then pack it up and go home. Like, so much easier than having to find your own location, buy your own location, rent a location. If you can partner with someone, partner with an organization that has a location, you are 3 steps ahead of where you will be otherwise. In our case, I work for the U.S. Coast Guard, and so I already have an in. So it's very easy for me to, go to the morale director and say, "Hey, I know we've got this festival coming up for the fall for Halloween. How would you like to do a haunted house for it? I'll take care of everything. Just tell me where I can do it." And they have never told me no anytime that I have come up and said that. 2 for 2 right now. Why don't they let me do it at headquarters? It's a much more secure space, like secure facility than anywhere else I have been. They may not let me do it
at headquarters, but you might be able to see if there's something that, again, community based. We can't do it here, but we could do it over here.
Indeed. The cool thing about where Coast Guard headquarters is, though, it's built on the St. Elizabeth's campus. And St. Elizabeth's is a Civil War era mental institution. And the history on this campus is super freaking cool.
That's almost too easy.
I need I need the basic information for this, so that way, because that'll be one of my ghosts.
Yes.
I
love it.
Yes.
I love it. So, one, look into who you have on your staff. If they are members of any community organization or whatever, there may be an in there for you to create a partnership. If not, reach out to your local community organizations. Hey, I build haunted houses. I'm looking for a venue for this year. It could be a great way to help bring money in for your organization. And I would love to talk about the possibilities more. Send that out as an email to every community organization you know and see what comes. You're fishing at that point. Not the bad fishing. This is the good fishing.
FI and not pH.
FI, not pH. Exactly. Your pH should be neutral.
Yes.
Chemistry joke.
One of many of the draws here of hunting you.
You get whale sharks, you get avocados, you get chemistry.
Who knows? You'll never know.
There's no downside.
There is no downside. So make sure you subscribe on whatever app that you listen to your podcasts on, so you can be notified every time we release a new episode.
You should also go on and rate the podcast if you like.
You should
give us
absolutely rate the podcast. We love reading your comments and hearing what you think about the podcast. It warms our hearts, even when it's bad. It still warms our hearts because someone felt strongly enough to tear us a new one on the rating.
You're
I'm okay with that.
Oh, they care.
They care. They cared enough. Exactly. So please go leave us a rating because that helps other people find the podcast as well.
I bet we do have one coming from that person from Oklahoma.
Don't say it.
That's probably coming. I'm just saying it's a possibility. It's probably coming.
The possibility. So let's take a quick break so that we can hear from our sponsors, and then we'll jump back into partnerships and how we have taken advantage of it.
And thank you for those wonderful words from our sponsors. If you would like to become a sponsor of Haunting You and allow us to continue the absurdity that you get 2 times a month, assuming that, we're not moving across country, go ahead and reach out to any of our social media, and we are happy to put something together for you.
And absolutely, we have a whole page set up on our website, hauntingyou.com, and click on sponsorships, and you will see all the different ways that you can help support the Haunting You podcast. And if you are a haunted house, or if you are a vendor, you make costumes, whatever, and you want to bring your products to an audience of dedicated Halloween lovers, our audience is exactly the audience that you want to be talking to. So
True.
check out the sponsorship page because it can show you all the different ways that we can help you get your word out to our listeners. And I guarantee you will not find cheaper advertising anywhere in the industry than on the Haunting You podcast.
I
And we will-
guarantee it.
I guarantee it.
I think you're listening to us so much of that, and then they're like, hold on, cheap. You said.
Honestly, it's my number one selling point at conferences.
Whatever gets the job done.
Yeah, exactly. So we have talked about all the different ways that we have partnered with nonprofit organizations. We have partnered with organizations that give back to our community in the past. And we hope that that has inspired you to reach out to some organizations in your community so that you can also give back to your community through your love of haunting. Les, I totally forgot the last thing you mentioned that we should talk about.
Having a plan and a proposal.
Yes. Thank you.
Took me a second.
But in order to do that, if you are talking to someone who you have never spoken to before, you probably need a plan that you can pitch to them. Now, we did a whole episode on creating a pitch, but that was a pitch for a haunted house, but it's still applicable here as well. Like, you need to have a clear idea of what it is that you are trying to accomplish, what it is you can bring to their organization, what you need from their organization. And you need to have that laid out in a clear, coherent manner that you can hand to anyone and say, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. Please read it over and let's talk next week about and answer your questions. If you don't have that at the ready when you are going out to talk to these, or when you're going out to seek potential partners, no one is going to take you seriously.
That is.
Yep.
Les, what are some of the things that you would include in this type of proposal?
So in this type of proposal, you really want to make sure that it's tailored. If you're talking to a food bank and you're saying, this is what we'd like to do, can you put this advertising into your newsletter? You're really just wanting to present what your haunt is, letting them know that this is, we're going to be collecting, this is the information. Can we get what you guys need? And that's going to be a different type of partnership than going to, say, your local fire department and saying, hey, can we partner to put on a haunt together? So one of the first things, again, is know your audience and tailor your discussion to that directly. The other thing that you're going to want to be able to show and provide is some evidence of success and knowledge that you've had in the past. So again, this is also going to depend on what you're proposing. A food bank, they're more likely to just put your information in and say, hey, these guys might be collecting. But if you're going to another organization that, you want a little bit more input and work from them, you really want to have that lined out. So it's not necessarily about putting together a full business plan, but you do want to have a solid proposal that states your objectives, that states your plan, that states what you're going to provide, and that states what you're asking for the partnership to provide.
Exactly. Just recently, I drafted a proposal for a local arcade that I wanted to partner with. Now, a little bit different. I just started a jelly ball business. If you are in Southern Maryland and you're looking for jelly ball, please reach out. I'm more than happy to talk with you more about what Southern Maryland Jelly Ball can do for your next event. But anyway, I created a proposal to work with a local arcade and supply Jelly Ball for them. And in that proposal, I just kind of broke it down like this. I did an overview of what Jelly Ball is and what we can offer. I talked about how we would, like, where we would set up an arena, what equipment that I would be able to provide, as well as some of the rules that are required for the participants to play. I talked about insurance that I am offering, or rather that we are covered by and would be extended to the arcade that we're working with. I talked about how tickets would be purchased and how we would, in this case, we'd be using the arcade's point of sale system, and then I would just invoice them based on the tickets that come out for Jelly Ball. And then I talked about schedule, when we would be doing it, how long it would take for us to set up, how long it would take for us to shut down in the at the end of the day, what we would need from the arcade. Do we need power? Do we need water? Do we need whatever? And then at the very end, I put together a section I called Summary of Actions. Southern Maryland Jelly Ball will provide all of these things. The arcade will provide all of these things. And then summarized it with a conclusion. And in the conclusion, a couple of key things that I wanted to make sure were in there. My contact information, who they should reach out to. Here's my email. Here's my phone number, so they can follow up with me after they've had a chance to arrange it. And then I finished it with, we will be in touch with you next week to arrange a follow-up conversation on our proposal, to make sure that, to set a clear timeline on when we're going to talk again. That way it's not just, whenever you get to it, and it may be a few weeks, and if it goes on too long, people are going to forget about it. You want to keep those timelines short so that it doesn't get forgotten about.
Well, and it also gives you more of an ability to control part of the conversation.
Yes.
So if you're going and saying, hey, this is my proposal, I'd like to set up a call in 5 business days to discuss this, you're already giving them a deadline, and you really are putting it front and center, and it makes you sound more serious and, really just put together of like, hey, this is really what I want to do, and I want to make sure that I'm doing it right.
And be open to feedback. You have lots of ideas, but it may not necessarily fit in what they're already doing. Like for example, when it came to the ticketing, the arcade has a bunch of bundle packages. So you can, because they've got the arcade, they have a virtual reality video game that's a separate potential cost. They have a mini golf that's a separate potential cost, and then Jelly Ball was going to be a potential separate cost. And so I proposed, well, you already have these bundle packages where you could pay one price and get all of those. So let's throw Jelly Ball in. It would cost this much. Here's how much would go to the arcade. Here's how much would come to me. And you could do for like a double. You have a double play where you can pick any 2, a triple play, any 3, a quadruple play where you pick any 4. And they came back and made some changes to that pricing structure. And we negotiated a little bit and found something that would work out for both of us. If I was not open to that, it would have fallen through completely, and we wouldn't be able to, we both would have missed out on an opportunity. So be open to feedback, ask for feedback, and then find the middle ground that works for everyone.
Yeah, it really is. It's a dialogue, and it's building a relationship.
It has to be a dialogue.
And it's a give and take. You're both trying to put something together that benefits everybody, but also does not, you don't want to be the person that takes up somebody's time with no value brought to it.
Exactly. Yeah. Otherwise you're just a burden, and no one's going to want to work with you if you're just a burden on them without providing any value.
I feel like you're not saying it, but that describes me. You could just say the name. It's fine.
We love you, John.
John, without you, this would be a very, very boring show.
As we have seen in the past.
Because Kay and I get way too detailed and technical.
Indeed. So that's kind of what we wanted to talk about today, with talking about how to find partners, who you could partner with, and the advantages of creating these partnerships. But I think we need to have a little fun before we all sign off.
Shenanigans.
Sorry.
Over to you, John.
Coughing there. Sorry. So this is just sort of random, but we got into September, and I had a conversation with some folks at work, just going back and forth about what their favorite fall treat is. So, for example,
apple cider.
You're not far off. So I saw them in the store the other day. They brought back just apple cider donuts. Those things are ridiculous. That's probably my favorite thing all year round.
Well, I was to say, we stopped at Dunkin' Donuts the other day, and they had the apple cider donuts. That's Ashley's favorites. We had to get some.
Good.
Yeah.
Even bad
they're
apple cider
really
donuts
good.
are still amazing.
Absolutely.
So you're going with apple cider?
For me, it's not fall until I have apple cider.
Because apple cider's delicious.
I love apple cider. And if you put a little bit of apple schnapps in the apple cider, oh, it's solid. It's solid.
Bourbon.
Bourbon's good too. I prefer bourbon and hot chocolate though.
Do that. Bourbon and coffee, now that's the way to go.
A depressant and a
Stimulant.
stimulant in the same. I mean, I guess that's what Red Bull and vodka is, but like that just has never worked for me.
I've never actually had Red Bull, so I
don't care. I don't like it. The only energy drink I actually like the taste of is Nos.
I'm not allowed to have energy drinks.
Rightly
For
so.
good reason. No, absolutely not.
Les, what's your favorite fall treat? Energy drinks.
No, I don't like them.
I thought when you said, I thought you were giving your answer when you said bourbon. It's not a bad answer.
Not really restricted to fall in my life.
That was my only thought. But
Concur.
fall beverage.
No, I think for me it's gotta be pumpkin bread.
Pumpkin
If
what?
you need more time, I
Pumpkin
have some.
bread.
Okay.
Pumpkin bread. Nice.
Yeah.
Along those same lines, like Oktoberfest beer.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I'm a fan. Although I saw a pumpkin beer in the liquor store the other day that I'm like, ooh, I want to try that.
There was some beer you and I had in Old Chicago when you were here.
Oh
that
my
tasted
God, it
exactly
was
like
so
a Reese's. That was only for Halloween, and
I don't
should have taken a picture of the bottle because I have
Seriously.
no idea what it's called.
I don't normally
Like
so good.
Peanut butter beers are not.
This one, I know, but this one was.
I don't normally like a stout.
Like found the one.
I don't normally like a stout, but this one literally tasted like a peanut butter cup. It was chocolatey. It was peanut buttery. It was fantastic.
We should have taken a picture of the bottle. God,
we should have.
That still bothers me to this day. Even though that was like 8 years ago or something.
It was. I think it was longer, dude. Do you realize that we're almost 40? Like,
I don't like to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I was looking at that and I don't feel like it. Well, I take that back. My back's killing me.
John, our 20th high school reunion is next year.
Ooh, can I crash that?
Sure.
Cool.
I'm probably not going to go. You can go for me.
Sweet.
Cool.
Oh, I could have so much fun with that.
John,
I'm not gonna. Well, go ahead.
No, you.
I'm not gonna lie. I remember getting an invitation to my 10th high school reunion and being like, "Well, I don't know if it's really my thing." I was hemming and hawing, then realized they wanted to charge me $280 for the privilege of going. So that was the end of that.
Made that easy. Made that
There's
easy.
I didn't know. I don't know if I liked you enough to go for free. So
yeah, exactly.
I don't know about paying for it.
Yep. Okay, what other shenanigans you got?
Really quick. How are you on pumpkin spice? I know we had this discussion a while.
It depends.
I'm fine with it in coffee. I'm fine with it in 1 to 2 baked goods.
I don't like coffee, so I mean, there's that. But
I mean,
okay, but
that's another thing. Right? But the pumpkin spice of them.
There is a big difference between pumpkin spice and the spices you use in things that are pumpkin.
Yes,
true. That is very true. That is good.
And the pumpkin spice everything.
They pumpkin spiced Spam. It happened.
I know it happened, and it's an atrocity.
Oh.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those, and I'm just like,
Did you really think Spam? Did you really think you were making your money back on that one?
People are weird.
Anyway, people are weird. Anyway, thought all right, you pole vaulted across the line. It's too much. So that was the sort of Halloween fall adjacent related question I have. The next one is just more of a topic of conversation. I thought was weird and interesting. Did you see they have Coca-Cola flavored Oreos now?
I did not see that.
I'm not really a big fan of trying all the 1,000 flavors of Oreos. I think there's
if they came in
8 or something.
2, 3, 4 Oreo packs, Sure.
yes, yeah.
But I
Worth
don't want
trying.
to buy $5-6 worth of Oreos and then
Ate them
realize
after.
that they're
Yeah.
disgusting.
Can I need your guys' opinion on something. What do you think about buying like the giant pack of Coca-Cola flavored Oreos and then breaking them off into little baggies and giving them out as Halloween treats?
Huh. Well, so actually, here before we answer that question, I'll explain why I went with this. So, Leslie, you're on the right track. I didn't find a 3 to 4 pack. I don't even actually know how many is in here, but it's a like mini one, like the Star Wars ones they have. It's a very small pack, just a couple of rows, and it was $2. All right, for $2, I can.
I would say
I can,
I don't feel bad about throwing away $2 if I
Yeah.
don't like
'cause
them.
honestly,
But-
this one I'm curious.
But like my question is, if I don't like them, am I a bad person if I give them out as Halloween treats?
Oh, just
90% likelihood all the parents are just going to throw them away.
yeah. I was just gonna say if you see candy or treats that have been moved into a Ziploc bag, I'm throwing those.
That's a
things
good
out.
point. That's a good point.
I mean, for me, I'd eat them, but I'm an idiot.
Well, I mean, some parents would do like the popcorn balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I think anymore, it's just
It's too risky.
unless you're doing it with a group of people and families that you know,
Sure.
Mm,
And
it's
to me,
just going to end up in the trash.
yeah.
So,
So, and there's-
I mean,
there's also there's a homemade distinction. Even the popcorn balls, I can almost wrap my head around. But I would ask, like, why did you take pre-made Oreos, and put them in a bag and give them out? What did you do? That would be my first thought.
I didn't like them. That's what I did.
I do. I mean, I almost think you should give out like a stapler or something if you want to have a good time.
you would
Fair.
be better off just taking it into work and putting it in a
Yeah,
break.
Yeah.
that's a much
There
better
you
way
go.
to get rid of
There
it.
you go.
Like that would be much more effective than because I guarantee somebody's going to eat it, even if
Yeah.
it's just on a
Yeah,
dare.
yeah.
Like what I'm assuming Kay will do with the candy corn when it comes his way this year.
Fuck candy corn. Every time.
Every time.
Every
But
time.
the reason I brought this up was so I tried. So I bought a pack, $2. I tried it. It really does taste like Coke. It really does.
Is that good or
Well,
bad?
I don't know. Because I don't dislike them, but at the same time, I'm not sure I would buy them again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
here's not only do they taste like Coke, they put something in it that's like Pop Rocks adjacent to simulate the carbonation. Because after you take a bite, you get the Pop Rock sensation in your mouth.
I mean, thank you.
I love that.
I don't know. I was curious to see what anyone else thought of that.
Have either of you been to any of the Universal Studios Harry Potter lands?
Unfortunately, no.
So
Mm-mm.
at the candy shop, Honeydukes in Hogsmeade, they have fizzing whizbees. And for those of you who are less Potterheady than Les and I,
Us.
fizzing whizbees are chocolate covered bees that you put in your mouth and they buzz around. And the way that they do that at Universal is exactly that, John. They put Pop Rocks, they cover
Sure.
Pop Rocks in chocolate, and then so you pop it in your mouth, and as it melts, it starts popping and buzzing, right? And like legitimately, they are Ashley's and I's favorite candy from Harry Potter.
That's awesome.
They are so freaking good.
Is it just because I can't trust the jelly beans? I can't do it.
I do not trust the
I can't
jelly
do it.
beans. 100%.
I got
I
Do not
earwax
trust
one
the
time.
jelly beans.
I'm not terrible at parsing out the colors on notes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also have to remember just how many pounds of jelly beans I've eaten over the course of my life.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. That's a fair point.
Indeed. But like they've got all
thought one
kinds of
was-
really cool candy, but those fizzing whizbees are the best.
I'll put it this way. I thought they went the extra mile, I thought, to make the sort of at least faux carbonation.
Totally.
I'm not
I
I'm not
appreciate that
sure.
attention to detail.
I'm not saying I don't dislike them. I don't they're decent. I'm not sure I would go out of my way to buy them again.
Fair.
But I respect the effort, I guess is kind of where I'm at.
That's legit.
See, a lot of the special flavors don't really
Work for you.
work. Because I eat my Oreos in pieces.
Wait,
I'm sorry, what?
how so?
I take my Oreos apart.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I
I
eat the
see what you're
top, then I eat the cream, and then I eat the bottom.
wait,
Uh-huh.
are there people who don't do that?
Apparently.
If you want the pro, if you want the pro move, it's you take the tops off 2 Oreos and then combine it into one giant Oreo.
There is that too.
That's pretty good.
The only,
That's
the only
legit.
time I don't do that is when I'm dipping them in milk.
That's fair. I wonder what these
I
would taste like.
approve of
We
that.
tried that.
I
Totally
don't wanna
unrelated,
know.
but Leslie masticating Oreos made me think of this.
So that's gonna end well.
I saw
That's a thought train if I've ever heard one.
I saw an interview with what's her name?
Give me a movie.
Les Mis.
Anne Hathaway.
Fontaine. Anne Hathaway. Yes. I saw an
I was like,
interview
we
with
had narrowed it down to women. All right. How many women can there be?
All they had to say was Les Mis, and it's
I was like, that-
I knew Les would pick that up immediately. I appreciate that. So I saw this interview with Anne Hathaway, and I think it was on Ellen, and Ellen made a comment like, I hear that you have an interesting way of eating cupcakes. And Anne Hathaway explained how she had a cupcake there, and she demonstrated how she rips the bottom off the cupcakes, sticks it on top of the frosting, and makes a cupcake sandwich.
Uh-huh.
So
I don't
you
eat them
don't
that way
get
because I don't like
frosting all
cupcakes.
over. And I'm like, that's genius.
Actually.
And ever since I've seen that, that is how I eat cupcakes, and it's so much easier. Like, genius.
That's actually a pretty good life hack.
Right?
Wow.
I have to say,
Yeah.
I enjoyed Anne Hathaway
I knew you were going to get there eventually.
but like in general, she kind of annoys me, right? But I have seen a number of clips of her on talk shows that have just made my appreciation for her increase so much more than I expected.
Yeah, she's delightful.
She is surprisingly delightful. And she did this whole thing where, oh my God, I can't even remember what it was. Oh, it was an orange. So she did this thing with the audience where they put oranges on everybody's seats. And then she was walking through how she uses this orange to improve her health. And she had them tear little piece, like basically peel the orange. And then, you know how you end up with the hole down the center if you don't break apart the pieces.
Yeah.
She had people breathing through the orange and she's like, nice and deep in and out through the orange. And you see how that's making you feel better? No, because I made it up. It's complete and utter bullshit. And that's why you shouldn't take advice from celebrities for no reason. I was like, my God, I love you. You are fantastic. If you know what, I'm going to link to that clip. It's in the show notes. Go check it out because it was wonderful.
Yeah. I love her. She's great.
She's surprisingly delightful. I'm much more impressed than I was before.
For my money, she's the best Catwoman we've had.
Legit. She was an excellent Catwoman.
I mean, I like Lee Merriweather too, but
Eartha Kitt.
Different times.
Okay, since you brought that up, John.
Lee Merriweather?
No.
I'm counting women.
I am getting ready to introduce my kids to Batman movies. And I am struggling a little bit where to start.
Michael Keaton.
I love Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, Batman, Jack Nicholson.
That's one option. That is very high on my list.
Or I would start with a cartoon.
So that was my thought. I have 2 thoughts. Is what you should do is you go out, you buy Batman Forever, you buy Batman and Robin, and then you throw them in the fireplace. That's what you need to do.
Oh my God! No.
You can put the ashes in your septic tank if you want, because that is where they belong.
That's actually how this whole thing started, because we saw a clip of Jim Carrey as the Riddler in Batman Forever, and we got talking about it.
Kids would absolutely be so amused.
My kids love Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura, The Mask. I have not shown them Liar Liar yet. I want to. We need to wait a little. They need to be a little bit older before I bring that one in because adult themes. But like they
hate those so
crack
much.
up at Jim Carrey. So like Batman Forever seems like an easy way to kind of like ease them into it because they already know him.
Yeah.
But Dark Knight is my favorite Batman movie. Period.
I wouldn't.
Dark Knight, that's a bit much. Especially when it's like
yeah, I love that movie so much, but
they're 9 and 10.
Not yet.
9 and 10.
Yeah, it's like even Batman Begins.
I'm sorry,
it's still
Batman
a little
Begins
much for
was
that.
the one that I meant. I meant Batman Begins.
Yeah. Okay.
I would
Dark
honestly
Knight is intense.
I would honestly start with Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, or Batman Forever, just because of their love of Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
If it was me, I start them with Batman the Animated Series. You will. It's a cartoon. Kay, I don't know how. I know Leslie has seen it a lot. Kay, how much have you seen it?
I mean, I haven't watched it since I was a kid, but that was the Batman I grew up on.
You watch it again. You will be amazed how mature it is and how.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that from when I was a kid. There were times that made me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will also say
that's what I'm saying.
My introduction to Batman outside of animation was Jack Nicholson.
Mike Keaton.
And I was about your kid's age, if not a little bit younger.
Yeah. And I think I was the same.
You can dance with the devil in the pale moonlight.
I would not necessarily move them onto Batman Return. Don't do the second one with Penguin and Catwoman.
Don't do that.
That one Danny DeVito is amazing. It's also
but he's so creepy in that.
He's
absolutely
so creepy. So I didn't watch that one until much later.
Yeah.
But
is it
Batman?
Is it Batman and Robin that has Mr. Freeze?
Yes.
Rubber nipples, man. Don't do it. Don't do it.
So funny.
That's the thing. It is objectively entertaining. It was awful, and I hate it so much.
Yes.
It's camp. But here's the thing: those two thoughts can coexist peacefully.
Objectively, yeah, they're terrible movies, but they are so campy, movies. And I adore them. And when I can't figure out what to watch, and I just need something completely ridiculous, those are on my list every time.
Do you know what I associate that movie with, though?
Rubber nipples.
No, my grandmother dying.
Oh,
because turn.
I know, because when my dad's mom passed away, Mom and Dad went back to Hawaii to deal with the estate and left my brother and I with our aunt in California, and she took us to see that movie when it was in theaters.
Gotcha. I mean,
and I remember I was probably 8 or 9 at the time. And even then, I remember thinking that movie was terrible.
Even then, 8 or 9-year-old John was angry at that to be completely honest. I remember seeing like previews and stuff and being so excited for a new Batman movie to come out.
Oh, I'm sure.
And then I watched it. Bearing in mind for the audience, like I've been watching Batman since I was like 4. I hated that movie so much.
I'm sorry, John.
It depends. Do you want them to have a good time or do you want them to have a decent introduction to the character? So it depends.
I want them to walk away wanting to see more.
I will say, so that's the thing. Batman the Animated Series is not funny. It's not.
No, but it's also like the epitome of
it's not
Joker.
Supposed to be. Oh, Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill.
I mean, Mark Hamill's
the best. It also has
listeners, you can't tell, but Leslie just chef kissed talking about Mark Hamill as the Joker.
Mark Hamill does. I mean, Luke Skywalker's fine. He does a much better job as the Joker. The voice and the laughter.
100%. 100%. He is like, in my mind, when I think of the Joker, it is that Joker that comes to mind.
So here's the best way I can say it. I read a lot of Batman comics. Anytime I do it and there's Joker is involved, when I'm reading it and the voice is being played in my head, I hear Mark Hamill.
You hear Mark Hamill's voice. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like, nothing against Heath Ledger.
Perfection.
Heath Ledger's Joker was phenomenal.
It was.
But Mark Hamill's Joker is the Joker.
It is.
Yeah.
That's and the animated series, not the comic books, which is rare. First ever introduction to Harley Quinn, not in the comics. She was in that cartoon.
Really?
Arlene Sorkin, yeah.
I
One
did
of the
not
very
know
few
that.
characters that did not originate in the comics, but
Yeah.
on there.
Harley Quinn
Thank
is
you, Paul Dini.
Paul Dini.
Speaking of which, have you seen? I assume you've seen the trailer for the new Joker movie coming, La Folie Deux or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Joker
Folie
2.
à Deux.
That one.
Mhm.
John,
The
what do you
musical.
think?
I'm interested. I'll watch it. It's so. I'll put it this way: from what I'm told, I'll just say for anyone who hasn't seen the first one, it is not so much a supervillain movie as an examination almost of mental health that's sort of just told through those characters.
Accurate.
That is an intense movie.
It is an intense movie,
But
and
from what
I
I'm-
think it does a phenomenal job of explaining like why he is as he is.
right. Because if you're looking for a classic Joker, that is not what
You're not going to get
you're
that.
not finding it there.
Yeah.
And I read an article on the second one from someone who had seen it early saying, if you were kind of looking for more of what the first one was, then the second one is not like that at all. Supposedly the
Interesting.
second one is a little bit more uplifting, even which, I say it from the
Unexpected.
low bar. Yeah, but a little bit more cheery than you would think it is with the musical additions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think it's meant to be a duplicate of the first one.
I took
I'm
my
happy.
kids to see Beetlejuice this weekend.
Oh, thank God! I thought you would say the first one.
No, I took them to see Beetlejuice, which was phenomenal. By the way, Ashley
Excellent.
says I was cackling the whole time, and I probably was. I will not dispute that. But there was a trailer for the new Joker movie ahead of it, which is what brought it to mind. And we watched the trailer. The kids looked at me expectantly, and I'm like, "No, not taking you to see that."
No, absolutely musical or not.
Yeah.
Even if you tone it down from the first one, that's still too much.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But
But you know what other trailer we saw though? And at the end of it, the kids were like, "I want to see that," and Walker's like, "I want to see that."
with the new Transformers.
No,
No.
Wicked.
Oh, I'm so excited for
The
that.
trailer was so freaking good. Oh my gosh. I
Yeah,
cannot wait.
I'm so excited for that.
And I need to explain it for a moment. Like, Wicked is my favorite Broadway show. I have seen it 6 times, I think now, live, twice on Broadway, 4 times on the touring shows. I adore it. I firmly believe that if I had seen that show earlier in my life, it would have changed the course of my life. Like, I would not be in the Coast Guard right now. I would be doing something in musical theater.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I didn't discover it until I was at the academy, and well, it was too late.
What did you
all
go
of-
see when we were in New York?
I went and saw The Lion King.
Oh, okay.
I regret that moment. Like,
I was like, I had the option. I
Yes,
could go see
yes.
Wicked with Shelley, or I could go see Lion King, I think with Meg. Shit.
so what
and
Les
I
is
ended
talking
up-
about, in my junior year of high school, her sophomore year, the band that we played in, the school band, did a trip to New York where we played a concert in New York and did a whole bunch of sightseeing.
it
and-
was your sophomore.
Was it your freshman year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause I took
could be
Mel's
accurate.
spot and she was a senior.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, my sophomore year, her freshman year. Anyway, we did this trip to New York City, and it was a freaking blast because you're going to New York City, without your parents, with all your best friends, and minor supervision, like minimal supervision. Anyway, it was a freaking blast. But one of the things that we had the option of doing was they gave us like a choice of 3 shows. If I remember right, it was Wicked, The Lion King, and Fiddler on the Roof, maybe.
I think it was Fiddler.
I think it was Fiddler. And at the time, I had no experience with musical theater whatsoever. I'm like, well, I know the Lion King story. I think it'd be interesting to see. And so, like, that's the one I chose. Hearing that, Wicked is about the Wizard of Oz. I didn't really care for that movie. I don't want to see that. And Fiddler on the Roof, the hell is that? So I
I
ended
grew
up
up
seeing
watching
Lion
Fiddler.
King.
Oh, this sounds so different from the you that we know.
I know, right? But I look back on that as that is a moment that defined
I
my life
cried.
and could have changed the direction of my life very drastically if I had made a different choice.
As soon as the intro music started and they started filing down to the stage, I was in tears. It was so beautiful. And I know
Yeah.
if I'd gone to see Wicked with Shell, it would have been the exact same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when Shell and I saw Wicked a couple years ago in Denver, the Buell, that's exactly what happened.
I remember the first time I saw it on Broadway, I had seats off of stage right on the floor, like, I don't know, 10 or 15 rows back. I went with crackers, in fact. And when she takes off during Defying Gravity and the lighting and the smoke and the projections, like that moment just literally takes my breath away. 6 times later, seeing the show, it still takes my breath away. Like it evokes all of the same emotions as the very first time that I saw it.
Yeah.
And so like that's how I know it's so good. So that is the expectation that is set when I'm coming into the Wicked movie. And I know that it cannot live up to that.
Yeah.
But I'm still so excited.
Yeah. No, luckily because Shell watched it, I got the CD basically as soon as we got back to Denver.
Yeah. I had no interest in musical theater when I was in high school, or at least until my senior year. And I truly believe that if I had seen Wicked there my freshman year, that would have changed the entire course of my life.
And I've been involved in musical theater since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Which is why one of the reasons I love it, because I grew up watching, classic Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Sure. I honestly do not appreciate Rodgers and Hammerstein as much as I do some, I'm going to say, more contemporary works. Like Pasek and Paul.
There was one that I saw that they did that's coming to the Buell next year. What was it? I didn't realize that they turned it into a musical. Oh, Back to the Future.
I saw that on Broadway. I didn't see it, but we went up to New York for Labor Day weekend. It's when I took the kids to see Wicked. And I saw it up there. I know nothing about it, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah. It's touring in Denver.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll have to watch and see if it's gonna come to DC or Maryland and try to grab tickets if we can.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we've gone. You that doesn't like musical theater.
I know, right? We have taken. Yeah, we've gone pretty thoroughly off course now, but thankfully we were into the shenanigans segment, so I think it's pretty okay.
All right.
Well, and again, it's more information that you guys get to learn about us and how we ended up where we are and doing what we're doing.
Exactly. So I think it's a good time to wrap up. John, will you do a quick overview of our social media and all the places where people can find us?
Facebook.com/hauntingyou. You can find us on Instagram @hauntinguniversity. You can find us on YouTube. I actually don't know YouTube. Where's
YouTube is @hauntingyou.
Indeed, easy enough. And like I mentioned earlier, for the podcast, you can find us on any of the podcasting apps: Apple, Spotify, Audible. You can find us anywhere where podcasts are available.
Exactly. And definitely go check out our website, hauntingyou.com. There you'll find our calendar, our events calendar, which talks about every single convention or trade show that we are aware of, when it's happening, gives you links to their websites so you can stay up to date on all the happenings. There's links to the Haunting You method, the method that we use to create all the haunts every year. And it's what keeps us grounded as we are creating, as well as the sponsors page, our partners page, which has cool discounts from all the various vendors who have supported us over the years and created discount codes so that you can get some of their cool products for a little bit less. Definitely go check out all that stuff on our webpage at hauntingyou.com. All right. It is September 15th, 46 days to go until Halloween. It is time to get building. We will see you again on October 1st. And then, well, we don't know what we're going to talk about on October 1st, but it should be interesting. So like and subscribe. Make sure you are able to, just make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening to your podcast so that it will automatically download the day that we release it.
Make it easy on yourself.
Leave comments. We love to read them. And to all of the listeners, new, repeat, and people who keep stumbling on us, welcome. Thank you. And happy listening.
Exactly. So from all of us here at Haunting You, good luck with the upcoming season. We hope your haunts just go absolutely spectacularly. Best of luck. Break a leg, preferably your patron's leg, not your own.
Exactly.
Remember that time you twisted your ankle?
I did, in fact, twist my ankle 3 days before opening. If you want to hear about that, you'll have to go back and listen to some of our older episodes, because for now, happy haunting, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
We are incredibly grateful to all the sponsors who make this show possible, especially our premium sponsors, the Chamber of Haunters, Fear Expo, and VFX. You can learn more about our premium sponsors by checking out their websites, chamberofhaunters.com, fearexpolive.com, and vfxcreates.com. Check out our website, Haunting You, for more information on everything that we do. Haunting You is a production of the Rocky Mountain Home Haunters, LLC. All audio clips and sound effects are used under a Creative Commons Attribution or Public Domain license from Purple Planet Music at purple-planet.com or the Sound Bible at soundbible.com. Please see the show notes for more information on all the clips used in this episode.